In this video, I'll show you how to draw the Simpsons house in 2 points perspective. How's it going, everyone? I hope you're all doing good. This should be a fun tutorial today, as we are going to be drawing the house from the Simpsons. So as always, I'll walk you through this step by step, and so the first thing you need to do is establish the position of the horizon line, which is our eye level. Now, I'm going to try and draw the house from a level which is similar to how it appears in this image. This is my reference here. The horizon line is a little above the centre, but as always, it's a straight horizontal line across the page. Now it's time to place some vanishing points, and if you have some experience working in perspective, you'll know that sometimes these are away from the page, and so we can't see them, but yet we still need to have our lines converging to them. If all of this sounds overcomplicated, by the way, then consider watching my perspective drawing series, where I teach many of the techniques and methods involved in the subject. Anyways, here I'm going to be drawing in 2 points perspective, and so there'll be 2 vanishing points, one to the left and one to the right. These are both off the page here, but not too far off the page. I mean, I was able to reach that left vanishing point with my ruler. The right one though was further out, and so as I draw this box here and start blocking out the house, I have to direct my lines and judge their position, imagining that they are all converging to the same point further down the horizon line. So yeah, as I said, now that I have my horizon line and vanishing points placed, I can block out the house, and so to do this, I'm going to be drawing quite a few boxes. This first box is the largest, as this is the main section of the house. Notice how when I draw these boxes, I continue to extend my construction lines to the edge of the page, and this helps me as I continue to add more lines which also converge to the vanishing points. Now, before I draw any more boxes, I'm going to add a pitched roof onto this one, and to do this I find the centre line at each side by taking some diagonal lines corner to corner, and then I extend a line up to a height that I am happy with for the pitched roof. So I'm looking at my reference here as I do all of this, and so if you are following along, you can do the same as me. I take a line from the top of this back to the left vanishing point, and that transfers the height across to the other side of the box. I now take some lines from the corner to the top of the vertical lines, creating 2 triangles and finishing this roof. Of course, I'll be developing this further soon. For now, I'm just blocking all of this out, and now I'm going to draw the next section of the house on the side. So this next box is going to be smaller, and it's joined onto the right of this part of the building. Here I start by deciding how far I want this box to be pushed back. I then use the duplication technique, taking a line from the bottom corner through the centre point until it meets the top of that plane, and then I draw another line. This means that the space either side is the same, and now this plane is central to the first box. Now I can extend some lines out to the vanishing points and block out another box. This will be at the same height as the other. It can be challenging to ignore previous construction lines as you add more to the drawing, but it does become easier with practice. So now I have this box drawn out like so, and I'm also going to add a pitched roof onto this, and this is done the same way as before, except this time the roof is going to be lower down. Here I draw these lines on the same incline as the ones for the other roof, creating 2 triangles at either side. Okay, so now we have another section of the house to block out here, and that is the section at the front where there is the garage. So again, this is going to be another box, except of course it's not as big, and it's joined to the front of the last box we had drawn, and it's also connected to the larger box at the side. So I extend the lines out to the front here to a distance that looks okay, and I start to construct a box at a suitable height. I'm also going to add a pitched roof onto this, except this time the pitched roof will be rotated in the other direction, but that doesn't matter, we still do the same. Divide the relevant planes, project a line up for the height of the roof and take it back to the other side before connecting this up and drawing two triangles. I'm always referring to the reference image as I judge the length of these lines as well. So now we have most of this house blocked out, and I say most because we still have the chimney to draw. Here this is placed at the left hand side of the building, and so here I observe how it appears in the reference image, and I block out a similar shape using the vanishing points. This chimney comes up higher than the pitched roof, so I make sure to do the same. Now that the chimney has been added, I'm going to develop these roofs on each section of the building. So if we look at this picture of the Simpsons house, you'll see that there are what looks like two roofs laid on top of each other, and so that is what I'm also going to draw. I've recently uploaded a tutorial on Patreon dedicated to drawing roofs like this, so consider checking that out, but what I'm going to do here is extend down the sides of these inclined planes for the roof, and I'll do this at either side. I will, however, ignore the back right side as it's not going to be visible from this angle. I'm also ignoring the chimney as I draw this. Once I have these planes overhanging like so, I can add some thickness to them. Here I just work my way around, offsetting some additional lines. Now I have a more realistic gable roof drawn out here, but like I said, we have to do the same again and draw another roof overhanging this one. And this is done the same way, except this time I won't make this one as thick. So there we go, that was probably one of the most challenging steps in this drawing. Now we have this roof drawn out, but we still need to add a roof to the other sections. Again, I'll work my way around, and I'm going to do the same on this section to the right. I extend over the inclined planes at each side and add some thickness to them. Also, don't worry about drawing in the sections that we won't see. I approach the roof for this smaller section the same way. Even though it's rotated around, I still extend the inclined planes to create an overhang and then add some thickness to the roof like so. This roof does overhang quite a bit in the reference image, so I made sure that this roof looks similar. Okay, so now these roofs have been added, but you've likely noticed that this roof here steps around the chimney that is coming up, and so here I add a few lines to indicate that, as well as adding some additional detail to the top of the chimney that is seen in the reference image. Now at this stage we are finished blocking out the building in perspective, and it's time to start adding some details such as the windows and the door. If you look at this image of the Simpsons house, you'll see that the windows on the front are symmetrical. We have the door in the middle and two windows either side. So to get these positioned correctly in my drawing, I'm going to divide up this front plane of the house the same way as we did when we were drawing the pitched roof. I take some diagonal lines from corner to corner to find the halfway line, which is where the door will be placed, and then I divide up these two halves the same way, and these centre lines will be where the windows at either side are placed. I'm aware that this looks fairly complex with all of these construction lines, but if you understand why they are there and which ones are relevant, it's not so bad. Anyways, now I'm going to outline and position each of these windows along with the front door and the garage door. There's two windows at either side on the front, along with two windows at the side behind the chimney. There's also a smaller rectangular window on the section to the right and a small square window above the garage door. So before I start working into all of this, I'm going to spend some time towards the end of this stage to add some smaller elements around the house that can be seen in the reference image. Here I add a step, along with a fence and a wall at either side. I also draw out some of the front garden, adding in a curved path and also a sidewalk at the front. Okay, so now we are done constructing the Simpsons house, and now I'm going to be less reliant on the ruler here as I start to develop this. I'm going to be working over my construction lines and adding all of the necessary detail, so I'll place this stage in a time lapse and you can see how all of this is drawn. So if you didn't recognise this as the Simpsons house before, then hopefully you can now. I have finished adding all of the necessary detail and outlining the drawing, and at this stage you can leave it as it is or add some colour if you want to. I mean, it would make sense to add colour, but for the sake of continuity I'm going to render this in pencil, seeing as all of my other drawings are. Although I might add some colour digitally. Anyways, here I'll place this last stage in a time lapse, and as I render this drawing I'll also be adding some shadows which make a big difference. Okay, so there we go, that is the Simpsons house drawn in 2 points perspective. Whether you followed along or just watched me draw, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I had a lot of fun drawing this one as well, so with that being said, thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one. If you enjoyed the content I create, then do consider becoming a patron on Patreon. You will gain access to exclusive tutorials, study documents, process papers, real-time drawing footage and more. Plus you will also be supporting me in a more personal way. Other than that, thank you for watching this video and I'll see you soon.